You're not there. You're in the learning stages. That's what high school's about, is you get to start over and you get to go and start from that point, right? The ceiling of last year is the floor of this year. And you keep on thinking that. We can start there and we can get better and we can get bigger. Because if they did it, I know I can. And like Janina said, she was very shy. So we did catwalks. They'd come in and I just like put catwalk music. And we did it last night, right?
Yeah,
we were doing catwalk, just see how sassy you can walk on the stage and have a good time with it. So it's really uncomfortable for me as an old man to do catwalks. But I did it with you. It looks really stupid, and I would never do it again in front of you. But let's see how you guys can change now at 10 o'clock in the morning and really have a lot of confidence. So we'll do part of our first song for you. This is Higher Love.
Do you want us to stop at the key change song?
I'll just tell you where to stop.
Hi, my name is Laura. I'm a soprano too, and this is my second year in the group. And like, I myself, I'm not a very outgoing person, as crazy as that may seem, as being in this group and also being a theater kid. Doesn't totally add up. But besides the point, this next song that we're doing is very physically and vocally demanding. And it's like a very sassy swing style song. And like, that's not something I would do myself. So what I do to like get into that is I fake it till I make it, and I come up with a persona. And my persona, her name is Katya. I love her very much. And when I'm on stage, I just get into Katya, and then I'm like, woo, on stage. And like, it's so powerful, like having that in your brain and like knowing that when you're on stage, you know exactly what you're doing with who you are, and like knowing that like with other people, making eye contact with other people in the group, you know that they're on the same wavelength, and looking at everyone in the audience, like looking people down, not letting them not make eye contact with you. It's such a powerful thing, knowing that you are translating your message the way you want it translated, and like doing that through movement and being on stage and being free, and like eye contact is the best feeling ever, and I love it.
Hello, I'm Andrew Schmitz, and this is my first year in the group. I sing baritone, and I'm holding down that lower end of the line. But the most important thing, as they're saying, is for sure movement. Movement is probably the most important, well, besides singing, of course, but like, it's probably the most important thing out of everything, because it gives you, how the song's supposed to feel. It shows you how you're supposed to, react, and it conveys sort of the message to the audience. That's basically why we move. And we get into the song. We don't even first off, when I started the year, I was terrible at movement. I was really bad. I didn't move at all, actually. So, but as the year progressed and we sort of kept getting better at it and getting closer as a group, and I started being able to let myself go more and sort of convey the emotion how I wanted to without having to feel like I'm going to be judged and such. So in Little Secret, this is a song that is very movement heavy. It is basically based off of 20s and 30s swing dance, and so it's based off of that, and we're doing these very sharp movements, these quick movements, and a lot of the movements that we ended up doing is something that I would probably never do. In the song, they have us moving our hips like this, and you have to get into it a lot. And getting into it for me was incredibly awkward, but once I started getting it, it wasn't as bad. I started feeling more comfortable, as I said, and getting into it. But as a musician, both eye contact and movement is how we convey our message to the audience. And without that, we wouldn't be able to, give emotion. That's how concerts are about, and performing is about. It's not just about singing a song to people. It's about performing. It's about showing emotion and giving these people an experience that they're never going to forget.
I'm Abby. I'm a junior. Sorry, there was like a bubble in my throat. I'm Abby. I'm a junior, and this is my first year in the group. I'm an alto too. And like they said, movement and eye contact is really important in every song, any song you do. But this is such a complicated and demanding song that it's really important that you don't let the audience see the concentration in your face. So like make sure you're still conveying the message through your face and your body with your movements, but make sure you don't like show, like if you mess something up, don't show it. Like it's gonna happen every once in a while. And I feel like it's very easy, especially if you practice it a lot. Like we've practiced these songs to nauseum, like a lot. And it can be very easy to just like zone out and like not show anything or any emotion at all. So just make sure you continue to show that to the audience so you give them a good show. And yeah.
All right, let's see if we can make that. Some of the exercises we do, we'll have one person sit in the audience and we make them sing the entire song staring at that one person. So it feels incredibly awkward for that one person sitting in the audience. And just like little things on stage, what we do is when we get out there and we look at somebody, we sometimes play the game like, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to stare at you until you look away, right? And then I won that game. Next one, I'm going to come to you and just stare at you. And sometimes people are really good in the audience and like, yeah, I'm into it. And I'm like, no, you got to look away because I'm staring at you for a long time, you know? But what you're doing is, it's not about the singing, it's about making that connection with people. I think that's the number one thing. If you're worried about what staging you're going to be doing and things like that, I'd rather have you stand there and really make an impactful performance than move around, okay? So let's do part of Little Secret.
Everybody got a little secret. Everybody wanna hear. Put down that cell phone. Most use of sugar. Everybody got a different spice. Gonna sum it up real quick. Make the right ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody got a little secret. Burning up inside. Baby, some water. It's gonna get hot tonight. Mama told me not to hurt her. Daddy said that it's okay. Baby's gonna need a little room, child. Say what you better say. That thing, take it to the wicked flame. How do you do that? How do you do that? Sweet spot. And the movement never stops. How do you do that? How do you do that?
So hopefully, did they make eye contact with you? Right? And it's hard when you're not singing too, right? Like if I'm over here by Molly, we still have it. I just saw it now. There's people that'll be just like, you don't see me. I don't have to look at you. And then all of a sudden they sing and they're like, oh, now I'm looking at you, right? Exactly. But really, even when you're standing there, you're still trying to emote that lead, right? And whatever she's doing, you have to follow that. Everything that person's doing, guy or female, if they're really into it, you got to be into that just as much. And you're not singing, doesn't make a difference. If it's angsty, you got to be just as angsty as that lead. And a lot of times, that thread isn't all the way through with everybody, okay? Because if I go and no matter what's happening, you have to draw me back to what you want me to see. Right? So if I'm Molly and I'm kind of off here, I'm going to look at that and go, what's up with that girl? You know, what's her issue when everybody else is doing things? And now I've missed all of that solo. So the next one we're going to be talking about is connection, right? And emotion. So who gets the mic first for that? Eli. Come on up, Eli.
So each year we have to re-audition for our group. So even though I was in it last year, I had to re-audition, and there's always the chance that you don't make it back in. Very rare, but there's still the chance. And
There's people that haven't.
yes, there's been people that haven't. But each year there's normally 16. This year we have 13. I'll let him explain that later. but I would say about half the group. So normally there's 8 people returning, but by a show of hands, how many people are returning this year? There's only 3 of us, which means that 10 people are new. And with 8 people normally returning, it means that you already have those connections that you formed from last year. You already have some of them, and then you only need to form about 7 or 8 more each year. Whereas this year, there's only 3 of us that had that connection coming into this year, and now we need to form a connection with 10 new people. So in my opinion, there's 2 really good ways to do that. The first way is, as much as it sucks, you have to let go of last year's group. That's not just, hey, I'm not going to hang out with that group anymore and I'm going to hang out with this group, which is very important. You should definitely still do that. But in my opinion, the even bigger thing is letting go of last year's accomplishments. One thing that we did last year, we won the award for the best high school a cappella group in the nation, which I will hold near and dear to my heart for the rest of my life. But this year, didn't happen, right? I'm going to forget about it, because if I hold myself to last year and what we accomplished, we're not going to accomplish anything this year. If you're always stuck with what you've done in the past, you'll never be able to do better in the future, right? And then the second thing is hanging out with the entire group. If I were to hang out with only Molly, sorry Miranda, only Molly, only Abby, if I only hang out with one of them, I'm only forming that connection with one person. But if I hang out with the entire group, or as much of the group as possible, because you're not always going to get all, in our case, 13 kids on that day to hang out. But if you hang out with as much of the group as possible, you get an overall group connection rather than a connection with only 1 or 2 people. And if you get that overall group connection on the stage, you can look at any person and know what they're thinking, rather than having groups of 2 or 3 people having their own individual interpretation of the song. And so I think that's a really important thing that every group should achieve.
Hello, my name is Allison Juarez Wonderland, and I am a senior, first year in the group, and I usually sing soprano 1. I'm coming at this kind of from an opposite perspective of Eli, because not only am I new to the group this year, I was new to the school about 1.5 years ago, so I did not know anybody. And it's very important to make these connections with the people that are in your group, to know them outside of just rehearsal, as the tenor that doesn't know their notes, or the soprano that's always too sharp, because these are people with like different spectrums of perspectives that they can bring to your group, bring to the songs that you sing. So it's very important that you're hanging out with these people not only in rehearsals, but hanging out with them like outside of practice time, to get to know them, get to know what their deal is. And then you can talk about like the connections that you have in this group with each other when you're singing on stage. Because these are the people that are going to have your back. They're going to be emoting exactly what you feel like to the audience. And you all need to be on the same page. And to do that, you really need to have connections with everybody in your group, like Eli said. And there are definitely friendships that are going to last way more than just the rest of this year in this group.
So hi, my name is Miranda. This is my first year in the group. I'm a senior and I sing tenor. So Allison and Eli both talked about connecting on a personal level, like off stage and both on stage. And when you're on stage, connection is very, very important with each other, but that also means it's important to connect with the audience and the song. You can be some of the best singers in the world, but if you don't have the connection there with anyone you're on stage with, or you're not connecting with the audience, it's not going to feel like a full performance. It's going to feel a little bit empty. On songs throughout the year, finding a connection to the actual song and the lyrics that we're singing. We've tried like a couple different things, like talking about certain things that's happened in your life that you relate to the song that you think about, or finding like a full group consensus on like what we all feel when we're singing the song, so you know exactly what everyone is singing. Specifically for yesterday, I think about back in middle school, a few years back, my mom had breast cancer. It was really close to her heart, so they couldn't just remove it through a surgery right away. And I was a middle schooler. I was really young. I didn't really know what cancer was. And like the song says, I believe in yesterday. I wanted so bad to just go back to yesterday because I didn't know what was going to happen. My mom is fine now. She's doing great. She's doing amazing. But that's what I think about when I sing the song, because for me, that's something that really I feel like I can put into the song lyrics and make someone in the audience feel what I am feeling.
I know that everybody rehearses, but is part of your rehearsal spending time to just sit there and talk about like what it means for everybody in the group? Do you guys do that at all? Yeah. Sometimes on some songs, depending on how much time you have, right?
I was wondering how you pick your songs.
It depends. This year,
Picked one of them.
they picked one of them, and I picked one, and we just kind of came to a consensus.
Then do you arrange them?
No, I'm lucky because I'm old that I know a lot of arrangers, and I've really studied each arranger's style that's given us music before. Like Rob Dietz is a really popular name. I can tell Rob, I can tell what pieces I want Rob to do based on what his specific talents are. And then when I go to the arranger, if you're ever getting a piece arranged, I think as a director, it's really, really important to say, this is what I want out of the piece. Don't just throw it at people and say, hey, can you arrange it for us? There's 13 voices. Say, I have an alto that's a tenor. I have this girl, and I send video clips of, I've sent video clips of Janina singing last year, and I've sent one yesterday of Allison singing to another arranger. And I'm like, this is the person I have singing. Here's the tools I have. Here are my strengths. Here are my weaknesses. You know, I have an alto that's a tenor, so she can only get down so low. And the same thing, I have a tenor that maybe can only get up to an F or G. Make sure when you're arranging that those things are there. Arrangers will always arrange for you. That's how they make money. And if you go to anybody, and this is for people that are going into college, right? Because for you guys, you're going to be going to college. They might not have a group. You might have to find, start your own group. We have a lot of kids that do that. And they go, hey, can you arrange for us? Great, I got a Rob Dietz piece. How come this doesn't work? You know, he's a great arranger, but he'll arrange a great piece for you. It might not be for your group. It'll be just something that he pushes out. Ben Bram, the arranger of Pentatonics, I knew him when he was in college. And we would go and we would like talk for an hour about a piece and what I thought about how this piece should develop, what he thought, and then who we had. And then people are like, where'd you get that great chart from him? Oh, I got it from Ben Bram. Great. And somebody goes to them and pays him a lot of money, and they're like, how come my piece doesn't sound like that? Well, because you didn't talk to him, right? So you have to know what your arranger's strengths and weaknesses are. The one I just am going to be arranging for Allison, I don't know her, so I said, hey, can you give me pieces that can demonstrate what you do? I don't know if that's going to be my arranger because I don't know what her strengths and weaknesses are. But with each person that arranges, I just kind of put a mental block in my head. Reggie Bones is one. He's a phenomenal jazz musician. And I wanted a piece that's really good in jazz, so I'll go to him. Amanda Taylor is in Groove for Thought, so we did a piece last year that was kind of folky. And she did a really good job. So picking your arrangers is as important as picking your music. But I've had it where we've done like a March Madness, and at the end of the year they'll pick, and we'll put it in a Google Doc, and then we put brackets, opener, middle, closer, extra, and then they'll go and they'll put themselves in there, their songs. We'll go to my house and we'll look at it on the big screen TV, and then that person that put it in there has to go, I think this would be a great song. This is why, and I can envision it this way. And then we vote on it, and then it moves on to the bracket until we have our songs. And it's kind of fun. And it's also a nice group dynamic because it allows everybody to kind of have a say, and we're all together. So.